apparently somebody else remembered our review from last week. Poor old Chris Jericho. I know it's now time to talk about the other boys on the block, our friends over at All Friends Wrestling. Chris got upset at our review of of his performance, I guess you could call it, last week. That it was a performance. It wasn't a match. It was a performance. But as Dennis Condrey used to say, we must have struck a nerve being all telling the truth and stuff, because he felt the need to not only redeem himself on his lion salt, but let the folks on Twitter know that he didn't mind us taking issue with his various antics, as long as he was able to provide us with something to talk about so that we could provide for our families. Sounded like somebody's little fucking ass chap to me.
It reads like his therapist told him to write it.
Do you have that? Do you have that tweet? I mean, if somebody's going to say, "Oh, hey, you know what? Fuck them," or whatever. Some people were actually saying on Twitter. A lot of people said some shit Chris didn't want to hear, but a lot of people were saying, "Well, it's good of Chris to take the high road like that." And like what do they call it? Passive aggressive. I don't understand all this psychology and psychiatry stuff. I'm a simple bird lawyer, but he's obviously, I mean, he's hearing this from more people than us. I guess he just credits us with being the instigators. Do you have that tweet?
I have the tweet here. It was, "I've been told Jim Cornette and his sidekick Great Brian Last, continue to brutally bury me for everything I do and say. My response to that is this: have at it. You're entitled to your opinions, and I'm honored to provide content that helps you pay the bills. Helps you pay your bills, excuse me.
Yes.
Best of luck to both of you."
Best of luck in your future endeavors. And I tweeted back, I said, I appreciate that. I said, to be honest, I said, Chris, if you ever did put the vodka down, get on a low-carb diet, quit having a, midlife play crisis with the outlaw mud show wrestlers, and stop donating money to have ridiculous despotic dictators stay in office, I don't know what we'd talk about. And then I forgot, and I had to amend that with also, and there's the reckless spreading of disease everywhere to engage your other midlife crisis fantasy as well. There's also that. I don't know what we'd talk about. I apologize if we hurt his feelings in any way. Don't you, Brian?
No, because we're saying the truth. And if he hasn't noticed, and I think he has, based on the fact that he went out of his way to tweet this in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a day.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, this thing popped up. I've been told. You mean you've been listening? You've been listening. And yeah, I don't apologize. We're saying the truth about him. His work sucks. He brings nothing to the table right now. The thing he had, the biggest thing he had, that was an advantage to AEW, was his name recognition and that people knew him off WWE TV. And we've seen what happens when, not the AEW fans, not the indie wrestling fans, but we've seen what happens when old wrestling fans casually bump into Chris Jericho on that show. It's embarrassing. They're embarrassed for him. His work is bad. He doesn't want to hear it. Look, he's been blessed with awful ideas for a very, very long time. And in terms of the donations to Trump, the one thing you'll hear every now and then is, "Oh, but he gave a few $1,000s to this wrestler who was sick. And oh, he gave a few $1,000s to this wrestler. Yeah, well, he gave $40,000 to Donald Trump."
I was about to say he gave $40,000 to a lunatic to try to destroy the country.
Go back to Canada. That's what I say.
He's got dual citizenship. There's no loophole there.
You know why he has that hole in the middle of his chest? He's got no heart.
He's got no heart. No, that's where they pulled his soul out.
No, we're the soulless ones. Remember? Because that was where it started with. Because we didn't like Stadium Stampede. We were soulless wrestling fans.
Have no soul if you did not like Stadium Stampede. So, I think his soul was pulled out long ago. Anyway, and this week, if he'd have just let it go, because let's face it, and I know he was upset when I pointed out, actually in plain terms and where you could go back and watch to the untrained eye how he takes his shortcuts, because he's obviously doing that so that he can continue breathing for the duration of the matches. But if he hadn't have just come out of nowhere with that tweet, I would have had more positive things to say about AEW this week than probably ever.
Hey, listen, man. Buddy Rogers.
What? Oh, hey, listen, man.
Buddy Rogers couldn't wrestle when he was 40 the way he did when he was 30. He changed the way he worked. If you ever see footage of Buddy Rogers in the early 50s,
yeah,
it's a different wrestler than you see in 1961. Chris Jericho's still trying to wrestle like he used to, and it's embarrassing. And again, he jumped on you and me. I saw that he also sent out a tweet. Hold on, I think I may have it here. He sent out a tweet also to Sebastian Bach. I've been told that Sebastian Bach continues to go out of his way to bury me. My response is this: be my guest. You're entitled to your opinion, and it doesn't affect me either way. I still dig your work on the first 3 Skid Row albums and look forward to your next record. Again, like I said, it reads like his therapist told him to let it all go and send these out. But he knows everyone's telling the truth. He knows it. He likes his stupid shit, but he knows we're all telling the truth, and he knows the audience that is seeing Chris Jericho for what he really is right now is growing week by week, just like his waistline is growing inch by inch.
All right, now you're not going to tell me that he doesn't have a waistline, he's got a coastline. You're not going to say that.
That's a good line. I wish I would have thought of that.
You're not going to tell me that last year he bought a wristwatch. Or you're not going to tell me that because I blew it.
What
already.
is that? Now I got to know what that is. What were you?
Oh, hold on. I'm going to back up. You're not going to tell me that last year he bought a belt and now he uses it for a wristwatch. You're not going to tell me that.
I wasn't. No.
You would never tell me that. You're not going to tell me that at his house his bathtub has stretch marks. You're not going to tell me that. Oh, for God's sake. Anyway, let's talk about this program.
Let's.
Because I am going to say a couple of good things.
There was some good stuff on this show. There was one segment that was really, really good, I thought.
There was a couple, but they can't leave anything alone. We'll get to it. But there was more of the good stuff and less of the bad stuff this week. But And I'll say one more thing to put a period on the topic of Mr. Jericho. We liked what he was doing last fall when he was trying to be serious. He's still only a year older. He may have gotten a little bit more portly in the midsection, but if he'd once again bothered to use his name value and name recognition and experience for good in trying to teach these guys how to work and carry the company like we thought he was going to try at the beginning, instead of abandoning any sense of him being the top guy, the experienced veteran, and him just joining in and doing all the stupid shit the kids do. It's magnified and amplified that you can see the shortcomings in his matches. And at the same time, in his in-ring work, because of the things that he's trying to do with these goofy guys. And at the same time, it's devalued him as a draw because he's just become now one of the boys instead of standing out, because he's been involved in all kinds of goofy shit with mid-card guys. So, they've lost a lot of tools in their toolkit.